Hey there, thrill seekers. Welcome to Afterlife Thrill Seekers, the podcast that's all about the spooky, the strange, and the downright chilling. We're your hosts, Alex and Ashley, and we're obsessed with all things paranormal. So grab your ghost hunting gear, turn down the lights, and get ready for a wild ride into the afterlife.
Well, I guess it's been a while since
Yeah.
we've done a video. And this is going to be separate from when we do investigations. This is going to be our video podcast. Today, what we might discuss, how we got into paranormal. Um, you have a lot of crazy things that happen, plus you also have abilities.
Yes.
So I guess we can jump right in to when was your first paranormal experience?
Probably one of my first ones that I didn't even remember about it until one time my mom had brought it up to me. We were talking, I don't know what we were talking about. One time we were just talking about different paranormal stuff. I don't know how we brought it up. But she was like, "Oh, don't you remember that one time like when we lived in the house that when I was younger, we grew up in a little bit. You were playing with that one friend of yours in the room, but no one else saw him." And I just went about my business and I just kind of was like, "Huh?" And then I thought about it.
She's crazy.
Yeah, I thought about it and I was like, "Well, yeah, I remember playing with him."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Yeah, he wasn't there." And I was like, "Well, yeah, he was because I was playing with her."
Right.
She's like, "Yeah, but no one else saw him."
So, like, you saw a full person, like,
Yeah, I was
they
playing
looked
with
real.
Yeah, I was playing with them.
Wow.
Like, I always just thought he was my friend. Like, people would think, "Oh, imaginary friend, this and that." But no,
Yeah.
he wasn't, like I would see you. I was playing with him like he was my friend in my house.
How old were you?
4, 5, 6, probably around
Really?
young like that.
Okay.
I remember playing with this kid in my house, like, playing cars and playing, just like it was normal.
Wow. That's wow.
And I had forgotten all about that person until she mentioned him, and I was
Mhm.
just like and it took me back right away, like, I was like, "Wait, what do you mean?" And
Mhm.
she was like, "Yeah, he wasn't there, but you could see him." I'm like, "Well, because he was there." And she's like, "Yeah, but no one else saw him but you."
So, do any of like, because you have siblings,
Mhm.
do they have the ability to see?
Yeah, well, I don't know about my older sisters, but my other older sister, my middle sister, she does.
Okay.
I don't know if she likes it as much. She never really talked about it a lot, but yeah, she has abilities. I don't know how exactly her abilities are too much, but I know she sees things and senses things and knows things that happen too. So I think it's a little different than mine,
Yeah.
but I don't know how different. But yeah, she sees things too.
A lot of times kids can
Mhm.
see spirits and then they grow out of it.
Mhm.
You did not.
No. No, I mean, sometimes it comes and goes,
Mhm.
depending, like, sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, I wanna see things, I wanna hear things," and then nothing.
Nothing. Right.
And then sometimes I'm just like, "Whatever," and then something will pop up. Like, sometimes with me, I can see spirits, sometimes.
Mhm.
It all depends. Sometimes I won't see anything at all, but I will smell them, or I will hear them, or I
Oh.
will just sense that there's something there. I can smell things. Like, all of a sudden, I'll be like, "Do you smell that?" And people will be like, "Well, smell what?" And I'll be like, it smells like this kind of flower, or it smells like cigars, or it
Yeah.
smells like this kind of cologne." And someone will be like, "Oh, well, my grandma or your great grandma or someone used to love that flower, or they used to smoke that
Okay.
cigar, or they used
Right.
to wear that cologne." And that's what I would sense.
Now, when you do see them,
Mhm.
what is it that you see?
If I do see someone, sometimes that's rare. Sometimes when I do see someone, but sometimes I'll see a flash of someone, like an actual person, like I'd see you just for a second. Or sometimes,
Oh.
like that one time when we were in a video, and I think it was the time that we were with Derek, and we were at the old school, and
Oh,
I saw a man
yes.
staring at us. I thought,
Yes.
"Man, there for just a second," but
Right.
I
Yeah.
kinda have one of those memories where if I see someone, I can tell you exactly real quick what they have on. I
Right.
remember what people wear and what they have on,
Yeah.
and I saw a man standing there for a minute.
Yeah, that I remember that. That was that I think that gave me chills when you said that
Yeah, 'cause I
because
could see him, but he was gone, but I will remember exactly what he had on, what he was wearing. He was standing there for a second.
that night was definitely creepy.
Yeah, there was a lot of shit going on
Yeah, there was. That
down there.
that school
It's very creepy around there. 'Cause
It
I have really had
is.
an experience there before with you and I kept saying, I just see kids singing that song. And I remember someone commented on there that, yeah, that their kids used to sing that song,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I know that's a
Versions.
common song, but I just saw kids doing that song just
Yeah.
in my head. Sometimes I'll just see it in my head, these kids doing that, and
Well,
kinda
because it was a person who I think went to that
Mhm.
school, and they
Yeah.
said that that is something that they would do.
And things will just pop in my head. Sometimes I'll see things like that guy standing there. Sometimes I'll just sense a person being there,
Mhm.
and maybe I might see an outline. I might sense a spirit, or like I said, a smell, or I'll just know that they're there.
So would you classify yourself as a medium?
Some people have said, like, I've talked to other mediums and stuff before, and they'll either say medium, clairvoyant. I don't think I would ever say, "Oh, I'm psychic," because I can't sit there and say, "I could see the future," or "I could see this," or say that.
But you have had premonitions.
Yeah, I've had premonition dreams. I know sometimes, like, if someone just called, or I know, well, someone's about to call me, or this is about to happen. So I'll have those little tendencies. So I don't know if it's medium or clairvoyant or a little bit of both.
Right, right. Going back to paranormal
Mhm.
encounters and experiences, since you do have this gift,
Mhm.
I think we need to share the things that happened in your house.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff and I know we brought this up before. There's a lot of things that go on in my house. I know it's an older house, so all houses make noises and stuff, but we'll hear things. We'll hear things drop. We'll hear things move. My boyfriend one time, and I've shared it before, that he's heard someone in the other room to where he went in there to investigate, and there was no one there.
Right, like,
They
it scared him so much he got his gun ready because he
he
thought
went
someone was
yeah,
in
he
the
thought someone
house.
broke in the house, like broke in the window or something.
Right,
He heard people opening and shutting the door.
right.
And the house is not that big. So he was like, "Okay, someone's in there." And me and my daughter weren't home. And he's like, "What is going on in there?" And he went looking and he's like, "Okay, nobody's here." And then when he went back in the other room, he heard it again. Like they were messing with him. They were like, because he would always mess around and be like, "Oh, there's no ghost here. There's nobody
Yeah,
here, this and that." And then all of a
right.
sudden when he was there alone, someone was opening and shutting the doors.
They were proving,
And that
"Hey,
happens a
we're
lot.
here, we're
Mhm.
here."
And that happens a lot. Like, this is probably just a couple weeks ago. My daughter was in the other room and I was in the living room, he was in the kitchen, and he saw and heard somebody walk by, and he was like, What did you say?" And I'm like, I'm sitting right here." And he looked, he was in the kitchen. I'm sitting here, the kitchen's, like, right over here,
Yeah.
and he saw somebody walk by this way. And he was like, "Oh, I thought you were
Oh,
just over there, walk by and said something." I'm like, "No, I've been sitting here this whole time." And he
wow.
saw a shadow, like, walk by going towards my bedroom. He thought I walked by. He thought one of us walked by. And he just
Eh,
when someone walks by,
he
you just see
sees
a
a
shadow.
lot of shadows,
Yeah, in my house, he'll see a lot of shadows, and
but
he thought it was me.
he had a scary situation in his
Mhm.
room.
Yeah, in his room one time, he thought he saw, like, a mist of something.
Mhm.
Like, he thought it was, like, a greenish color mist or some kind of mist, and he was like, "What the hell was that?" And I'm like, "Well, the people that used to live in that house, a guy either died in the house or he was sick before he left the house and then passed away." So I still think the guy visits the house,
Mm,
because when I first bought the house, I sensed that he was still there.
yeah.
So I don't know if it's still that guy and he's still hanging out there, or maybe it might be other spirits because they know, because we don't mind
Right.
the spirits being there, because there has not been any scary spirits there.
Well, and that is something that you and I have discussed with a medium,
Mhm.
where she said that if there's one spirit,
Mhm.
it attracts other spirits because they feel like, oh, if a
Mhm.
spirit is here, then they can maybe come.
Yeah.
And that's why she said a lot of times you shouldn't acknowledge,
Mhm.
because then it can bring in
Yeah, more
the
so.
bad.
Mhm. Yeah, but I've never really had any. I mean, that is true, that probably can happen, but I've never really in my house right now, I've never
Yeah.
really had anything that scared me.
Now, since you have the gift
Mhm.
and you don't think your mom passed it on to you, you think your grandmother did,
Well, yeah, I think my mom kinda has it too.
but she just
Um
doesn't acknowledge.
Oh, she does a little bit. She did here and there, but she never really talked about it too much. But I know we probably got it from my great grandma,
Yeah,
because she used to always talk to spirits and see spirits and just
right.
talk to them like I'm talking to you.
And you have Native American in you.
Yeah, my great grandma was Native American, and she just always tell stories, and she would see things, and she would just talk to spirits, and
So since you have it and your sister has it,
Mhm.
your niece also has
Yep, they
it.
met my niece. Yes, she has it too. She also will know when things are happening. She will sense things. She will. I have to talk to her more. I don't know if she sees spirits and stuff like that too, but she knows when things are going to happen too.
Does your daughter, or is she too
She
excited
doesn't
to
want
admit?
she doesn't want to have any of it. If she does, she won't admit it. But she does say that sometimes in the house that she feels like things are there and watching her, and she don't like it. She gets nervous. Yeah, so she was like, "Well, if I have it, I don't want to know if I have it." She don't like it at all.
Wow.
But she does
So
feel
she's like your sister then.
yeah, how she was growing up. My sister now is fine with it, I think, but my daughter don't like it at all. She feels like in the house that sometimes things are watching her. I'm like, "It's fine, everything's all right." "I don't like it, I don't like it."
Yeah, because
Tell 'em
you've
to stop.
never had anything negative in your house.
I've never had anything bad.
In your house, but you have had some bad
Mhm.
experiences.
Yeah, I've had, like, in some of my old apartments, like, back home in Illinois, like, I've had some scary stuff going on here and there where I would be like, "Okay, you need to go. I don't like the way
Yeah.
I'm feeling." And there's only maybe a couple times where that's happened. But most of the time, it's just, I just know that there's spirits around, but
We've been friends for a very long time, and this is something that we've always discussed throughout our entire friendship. And then we started this YouTube channel
do our little
a
video.
while ago. I
Mhm.
can't even remember when we started it,
Mhm.
but we've been on numerous investigations. I want to get your take. Where do you think has been the creepiest place that we have gone? I know my answer, but I want to know
That's
what
what
your answer is.
Ooh.
The scariest place that we've gone where we're like, oh shit.
I think Ojai. When we went driving to Ojai, that creeped me out probably because it was so dark.
Yeah.
And we were
You
in
got
the
to go back.
car.
I think
Yeah,
we need to
yeah.
go back
I
and
think 'cause
try
it was
that
so
again.
dark and it was creepy while we were driving. We didn't really get out, well, because of where we were parking. It was
Yeah.
like
I
it
don't
was
think
kinda like a camping ground too, but
Yeah.
it was just probably because it was dark and scary and all the stuff that we were getting. That was one of them that I thought was really creepy.
I guess I'll say
Yeah,
mine while you
yeah.
think. But for me, you either pronounce it the Mizpah or the
I
Mizpah.
really liked that one. I was gonna
That
say that one, but
place,
I really liked it.
if you really think about it though, the
Mhm.
things that were happening to us were very creepy
Yeah.
because we were asking the lady in red
Mhm.
who was the prostitute who was murdered
Mhm.
in that hotel. We were asking her questions and
She
she
was
was
responding. Mhm.
responding. And after we got done with that investigation, I did a little bit more research, and she is known to touch people.
Mhm.
And she touched me in
Yeah,
that
I
bed
remember, and I was
because I was creeped out, and I'm like, Alex, I'm feeling tingling sensation
Yeah.
on my leg.
Yeah, I was passing out. I had tooth pain, so I was taking a lot of stuff for my pain. I was
That's
passing
true.
out. I was like, "It's okay, it's okay." I was knocking out.
But she, I was touched twice that night.
Mhm.
And then remember, I also read too that she does not like women.
Because she locked us out the room.
She locked us out of the room.
And it's been known that she's done that because when we went downstairs and they're like, "Oh, you're in that room. That's why. Here's a new key." And we're like, "Oh, so this happens?"
Exactly. But you know what was weird too? Remember someone was wanting to rent that room that
Yeah. Yeah.
and she's like, "No, it's not available."
Yeah, it's already awakened.
They would
Yeah,
say
they were
no
mad.
for
Yeah,
names.
they were mad. Yeah.
So
Sorry, we got the room.
that to me
I liked
was
it. That was probably my favorite though. But yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was a fun night, but it was
Mhm.
also
Yeah, it was scary though.
scary because you even got freaked out
Yeah.
because at one point we had the lights off. If
Mhm.
you haven't seen this video, definitely
Go
or
see it.
haven't seen the video, I definitely recommend that
Mhm.
you watch it because we turned the lights out
Mhm.
and at one point you heard a voice
Mhm.
and then boom, the REM pod goes
Yeah,
off and you
yeah.
were like speechless.
I was like, "What the?"
Yeah, exactly. So that was definitely
I was like, "What was that?" And then we were hearing stuff across the damn room, like the
yeah.
stuff that we had over there was moving around. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. But I liked it 'cause I didn't think it was like scary, scary, but I think it was one of my favorites because we had so much going on.
Yeah, I think for me
Yeah.
though, it was scary
Mhm.
because I'm not used to stuff like that where
Mhm.
you are.
Yeah.
And I know that when we go to these places, you can easily fall asleep.
Yeah.
I can't. I have to like take a Tylenol PM to knock myself out because I'm like too scared to fall asleep. That was probably more scary to me, but I think our lamest investigation we ever did was the Cloud Motel.
Yeah. That one was I'm very disappointed. I liked the cemetery. The cemetery was scary as shit.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Scary.
Yeah.
But the hotel was very lame. It was not. I mean,
I think it's all hype.
Yeah, very much so. And I did like what was scary about it though, besides the cemetery right next to it, was the lobby with all the clowns.
Yes.
That part was scary.
And that place I think
That
is
part was
legit
creepy.
haunted.
Yeah, that part was all creepy. But the hotels, the actual rooms and stuff was very lame.
No, the scariest thing was the ants crawling on.
Oh, I know. There was ants everywhere. We're like, oh no, there's ants all over the floor.
Yeah, it was
Like, oh my goodness, it was horrible. There's no way we're sleeping. It was awful.
No, but we did have an experience in the room where someone shook the bed.
Yes. Yeah, we did, because we were sitting there and the bed did shake. And I'm like,
because you looked over at me and I was
like, yeah, I was like, and she was out. I was like, okay, she wasn't shaking the bed. Someone did actually shake the bed.
Right, exactly.
But that was about it. But the rest was just.
Yeah, I don't know if I would ever go back there, to be honest.
No, I know it wasn't. Because the guy at work was like, oh, did you go to the Cloud Motel? I'm like, yeah, it was lame. He's like, oh.
Yeah, super lame. Super
Yeah,
lame. It just.
The aesthetics of it was awesome, but just the room with the ants, and it just wasn't too hyped up. Yeah, it just.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is another one?
Well, I was scared at your grandma's house.
Oh, in Arizona.
Yeah, because when I heard that big bang, it was just us there.
Yeah.
Nobody else was there. And you were like, well, I'm going to go in the other room, get ready for bed, da 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 da. And I heard that against the wall. I'm like, well, I'm going to stay here for a while. And no one else was there. And the garage was empty. And all of a sudden I heard that big, huge bang.
And I didn't hear it because I was in the other room.
Yeah, you were across the room, and boom, against the wall. And I jumped out that chair. And I'm like, Ashley, get up. Nope, something's going on. And we went and looked, and nothing had fallen.
No.
Nothing was moved, but something hit that wall hard.
Yeah. And
it sounded like a freaking hammer hit the damn wall.
You yelled, you're like, Ashley.
I said,
and I'm like,
someone's in the garage.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, it was loud.
The thing with that house is, as soon as my grandmother moved into that house, they had some workers that were like doing like the flooring and all that stuff. And they heard a telephone ring inside the wall.
See, someone's buried in the wall.
And my grandma just laughed it off like, what? And then she heard it and she goes, I don't know what that is. The workers left and refused to come back.
Yeah, because it wasn't like it was like a hammer hit the wall, like boom.
Wow.
So where I jumped out of the chair, that shit was so loud.
Too bad we weren't recording.
Yeah, of course. And I'm like, oh my God. And I didn't hear it the rest of the night, but it was loud. And I jumped out of the chair. Like, that was the loudest bang I've ever heard. I'm like, oh no. Something's in the walls.
Yeah, exactly. So on this podcast, we will definitely be talking about paranormal, and you're big into true crime.
I love true crime, anything paranormal, and also I'd like to talk about like paranormal and true crime, like mixed together a little bit.
Which would be like the Black Dahlia and things like that.
Things that can be also, I'm trying to think of any other stories that might be paranormal mixed in.
Well, here's a story that we can share. Okay. It's not paranormal, but it's true crime. You met someone on Instagram who does that type of stuff, like in your local area.
Oh, yes.
And we you hit him up and asked if he could show where a recent body was found. And I'm thinking, this feels crazy. Why are we going to do this?
Yeah, we sure did. There's this guy that does this local stuff around where I live. And it's like if there's fires, if there's bodies found, if, police activity, all this stuff that he goes around and takes pictures. And there was a body found not 5 minutes up from my house.
Right.
And I was like, oh man, I want to go see where it was, exactly where it was found, how long it was there. I want to know what's going on. And so we met up with him and he showed us where it was found, where some of the other parts of the body was found, and all this stuff connected to it, because there was another story and I kind of put it together because I had hit him up like, okay, this other story happened. Could it be related to that body? And he was like, well, that's kind of observant because they're thinking it could be related. So when we went and met up with him, he was talking to us and he was talking to us about a certain truck
Oh, yeah.
that might be related to it. And while he was talking to us,
It was
I
a white,
saw it was the white truck. I happened to see that truck. And I was like, while you're talking to us about it, I see a white truck up the road that he was talking about might be related to all this. And he was like, that's probably it.
because they did something weird.
They did a
started to come
U-turn. They
down,
started
and then-
coming down and they saw us where the body was found. They turned back around, went back up the street.
Yeah.
And then he also showed us where the person, that their body that was found, they had a book bag and stuff like that. He went and showed us where the book bag was found with bloody knives and all that. So when we went back up there, the same truck was coming down while we were going up.
Right. And they looked at
And they
us
looked
and
at us.
pointed.
They were pointing at us, and
And then they pulled over.
then they pulled over. And when we were coming back down, it looked like they were dumping something over the edge because it was up in the mountains. So it looks like they were dumping something. And the guy that was showing us all that stopped. And I think he was talking to them after we had left. So I was like, okay, Ashley, let's not go back by my house. Let's drive around.
Yeah.
And he contacted us so we could get some information of what we saw, blah, 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 blah. But
Well, yeah, because then he said that when he stopped, he asked them, hey, are you guys okay? And
Yeah.
they looked very
yeah,
scared.
they looked
and
very
nervous.
nervous. And it was insane. So it looks like maybe they might have something to do with stuff. It's like a whole not conspiracy theory, but kind of like cops don't know what's going on, if they're involved in this and that.
Do we have any updates?
I haven't gotten any updates. I haven't heard anything. I just know that the body that was found was of a homeless man that lived in Ukaipa. And that's all I know so far.
Right.
But the body was found like right there by the road, by a fence. But if you're driving by, you wouldn't be able to see it because the fence had all this brush
Right.
and hay, like hay brush and all this stuff there. So you wouldn't have been able to see it. But it was right there for weeks.
And he said, oh, and you might see some maggots still there.
So I'm
I'm
like, where?
oh.
And then he was like, and the hand was found over here. I'm like, where?
Well, and the hand, it's because a coyote.
Yeah, coyotes. Because
attacked
there are a lot
the
of
body.
coyotes and wild animals out there.
That was a scary moment, I
Yeah.
think, for us
Yeah.
because we thought we were being followed.
Yeah, that's why I was like, go somewhere else. But then I was like, no, they're probably too, talking to that guy, this, that, and this, that. But
So that'll be some of the true crime things that we bring to this podcast and possible videos as well. That's your expertise, so you'll have to lead the way because I don't know much about it.
yeah.
But there's another story that came out. This will be the last thing that we discuss before we wrap this up. The FBI is now investigating and claiming that there might be like over 400 truck drivers that are serial killers.
Oh, yeah, and it would be easy. I mean, there was truck drivers that were serial killers before. I mean, it would be easy because, I mean, if they're going all to these different states, especially if they're women that are hitchhikers or prostitutes or whatever, it'd be easy because or runaways. You can pick them up, do whatever, and then toss them wherever. And then you're going from here to here to here to here. It's going to be hard to get caught.
Well, yeah, look at all of when we travel from here to either Vegas, Southern California to Vegas, or from here, Southern California, to when we drove to Tonopah. Look at all of that open land.
Yep.
Where you could easily bury someone.
Yep. No one's ever going to know.
Because every time we do that route, you're like, oh, I'll bet there's bodies in that.
Dead bodies. Yeah. I mean, just like I think it's the West Mesa, Arizona, West Mesa. There's a movie called The Boneyard, true story, about all the prostitutes that someone made a boneyard of in the desert.
Wow.
All these bodies, and they still don't know who killed all these women. And they all, I believe, have been strangled, and they're all buried in the desert.
really, really sad.
Well, just like there was another 'cause there's so many, but Susan Morphew, the mom who went missing on Mother's Day, supposedly went for a bike ride. They could never find her body. These people were out in the desert, like so many miles away from her house, looking for another body, and they found her body. They were
Oh,
they're investigating something else, and they found her body in a shallow grave.
wow.
Because her husband did it. He killed her.
And did they arrest him?
I think he's arrested. I have to look up what was going on. I believe he's arrested. And they're trying. I haven't gotten any. I got to look up the updates, but he did it. I mean, they found her with an arrow, stuck in her or with her, and he had arrows that he said he shot deer with that had medicine that could knock out a horse or something like that, and it was found with her bones.
Wow. And oh, that's morbid. That's so
Yeah,
morbid.
but they were looking for another body. They could never find her body, and they were out there. Investigators or someone was looking for
So how
another
long
body.
was she out there?
3
According
years.
to ABC News, the Walt Disney Company. More remains of Suzanne Morphew
Oh.
found 3 years after her disappearance.
Yep.
There was no indication of trauma to her body at the time of her death, according to the report.
Mhm. Yep. So it's 3 years.
So then did her husband like disappear?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Oh, so they easily caught him.
Yeah, but right when she went missing and all that, he went and got what is it? Not like POA or whatever, that of all her stuff, not her family. Sold his house, did all this stuff, got all her property, got all the money, got all this stuff. The family couldn't even get anything.
Wow.
The charges were dropped without prejudice, meaning Barry can be tried again if prosecutors refile charges. So I don't know if
He's not even arrested then.
I think he was at first. And then, yeah, her body was found in September of 2023 while investigators were searching in an unrelated case. Her remains were found in Moffett, Colorado, about 90 minutes south of where she lived. So they were looking for, like I was saying, for another body, and they found hers.
That's definitely something that will be discussed as well on this podcast. And
Yeah.
I think the way that we will end this podcast is you're also a horror fiend.
Oh, yes.
So we will do a horror movie
Yes.
review.
I've seen so many lately. I love horror movies.
How about one that I can chime in
Okay.
on is The Companion?
Yeah. Did you watch it? You just watched it?
Yes.
I liked it. A lot of people said, my friend said she saw it and her husband kind of liked it and he didn't like. I liked it.
What's scary is AI really is taking
Yeah.
over.
I mean, that's
And
horror within itself.
that was insane.
Yeah, because I've seen a couple movies like that. Like there was this movie called Tim that was kind of like that.
haven't
She had
seen that.
oh, you got to see that one. It's kind of close to that. There's a movie called Tim where this lady and her husband, this lady worked for an AI company, and Tim was supposed to be like a house, like a maid, like a butler and all that. Well, he looked like a real person, and he fell in love with her.
Oh.
So he tried to put the husband in different situations to where it made it look like he was cheating on her to break them up. And he ended up killing the husband and her because he was so obsessed with her.
See, that reminds me of the movie Subservient with Megan Fox. That's literally
Yeah,
like
I
the
just
same.
saw that like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah, it was kind of close to that. Yeah.
These AI robots, and they are coming.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, it's scary for sure
Mhm.
because I'm sure there will be hacks where people
Mhm.
can force them to do things that they're not really programmed to do. So with Companion, it's basically a lonely guy
Mhm.
rents a companion
Mhm.
AI robot.
Mhm.
Then he plans with his friend to murder her rich boyfriend.
Yeah. So they can get all this money.
Right. And then because he hacked her so that she would murder him.
Yeah, put her in a position to do that. Yeah.
Right. And then basically everyone got
Yeah.
murdered.
Yeah. But the whole time she doesn't know she's a robot. She
Exactly.
thinks she's a real person.
Right.
I would give it a 4. I really liked it. I thought it was what I liked about it, because at first when you're watching it, you don't even know she's the robot. Like
Right, exactly.
you don't know she's the robot. You think
figure
she's
it out.
the girlfriend, and then you're looking like, she's just so tame for him. Like, why is it so
Right. And she was so willing to please him.
right? And I'm like, what is so? Because there's like little tidbits in it to where you're like, why is she acting like that?
Yeah.
And then there was a part where he was talking to her a little off, and I'm like, why is she accepting that? Because when you watch the trailer, it doesn't give you much information.
No, it doesn't.
So there's a part where he was like, Iris, what's the weather? And the way she said it, I'm like, okay, either she just really likes the weather and she's really good at it, or something is happening here.
Right.
And then you start unfolding it and you see, and you're like, oh shit,
Exactly.
he's not real.
At first, it was very slow, and I thought it was
Mhm.
going to be
Yeah.
a boring movie.
Yeah, at first you're like, okay, what?
But
Let's get some action going on. And then you're like,
exactly.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It was good.
Yeah, there was one little twist that got me. I was like, oh,
Oh, yes.
like,
I wasn't expecting
me.
that.
So I was like, oh, you
Exactly.
gotta watch it. You gotta watch it.
Yeah.
It's good. I liked it.
It's
There's some twists in it that you don't expect.
yeah, it's definitely a recommendation.
Yeah, I liked it.
So I think that's going to wrap up our first episode as a podcast. I'm Ashley.
I'm Alex. So more podcasts to come, and also hopefully some more videos come in. I know we want to do the Queen Mary soon. I've been waiting to do that one. I know Ashley, I think you've done it. But
I have.
me.
I did it with my husband, and he's a huge skeptic. Every time
No fun.
something happened, he would try to analyze it and be like, well, it could be this, it could be that. I'm like, no, it was
I'd be like,
paranormal. It was a ghost for sure.
So it'll be more fun with me.
Exactly.
Because I'd be like, no, it was a ghost. Her name was Sasha.
Exactly.
So if you want to see more fun and listen to more fun and see us more, keep watching.